Hey, K Worthy here. I want to share with you all a lesson that I was reminded of this week. A very powerful lesson for me. I mentioned the other day in my story that I posted about a gentleman who was afraid to get on stage, and so he walked away from that opportunity. What I didn't tell you is that I was terrified to get on stage. Not because I don't get on stage regularly. I speak in front of rooms all the time when I'm training and working with my specific groups. But this environment was a little different, or at least in that moment, I felt like the environment was different. You're in a room full of millionaires who are all there. Everybody's working on. We're really on the same path. But working on different missions, right? That's why every organization has a mission statement. We all working towards, our businesses, which is the same path, but our mission statements are different. And so, but in that moment when, we got called to the stage to speak individually about our businesses, I was thinking, okay, what am I going to say? So I wrote myself out this little script, and I was very intentional about trying to make sure I was one of the last couple people to get on stage, right? I was really wanting to be the last person to go up. And so, and that was so that I could practice my speech that I had wrote down. And as I kept going over this speech, I would put it down and then I would say, okay, now say what you said in your head. The way that you plan on saying it, on stage. Say it out loud, the way you plan on saying it on stage. But I couldn't remember it. Like, I wrote it down, I said it 100 times, but I couldn't remember it. And it wasn't until I was the second, I end up not being the last person to go up, because right when I thought I was the last person to go stand up there, to get ready to go up, thinking I was the last one to go, I noticed that about 10 other people finally got up too. So I wasn't the only other person in the room trying to be the last person to go up. But when it came time for me to go up, there was literally one other person in front of me. And this is a room of about, there were maybe 50 or 60 or it was between 50 to 80 of us in that room, to be honest, at that particular hour. There's been hundreds of us here all week, but there were about 50 to 80 of us in the room at that time. And it wasn't until it was my turn to go up, and there was only one other person in front of me, and I was flustered. Stomach was queasy, my hands got a little sweaty, all these physical signs that were happening inside of me. And it was because, and I realized in that moment, you haven't memorized this script you wrote out, because it's not authentic. It's, you wrote down what you think these people want to hear, as opposed to just telling them who you are and, what you do and how you add value in what you do. And so, but it was just in that moment. I literally sat there for an hour, going through all kind of emotions, because I'm trying to memorize a script to do something, or to say something, or to speak about myself in a way that wasn't authentic to who I am. And that moment it gave me pause, right? And I got on stage, because I got this right before I got on stage, but I had already memorized this script, right? So I started off by trying to give the script that I had memorized. And I had to take a pause on stage, and I just said, let me tell y'all a little something about myself, okay? And then everything just flowed from there. And I really walked away from that experience grateful for that reminder. And I really feel like God put it on my heart, just be yourself. I'm nervous thinking I got to present in front of these millionaires. And truly, I was presenting in front of my peers. Okay? There was no person in that room that was better than me. They bank accounts might look a little better than mine today. But there was no person in that room that was better than me. But I had allowed myself to view them as up here. And the nerves came from me unintentionally thinking that I'm here. And the only thing that differentiated us was our bank accounts. Let's be clear. Okay. Because I'm quite sure I was, much more intelligent than a lot of folks that were there. And I'm not saying that to boast about myself. I'm just saying that that's the reality of, there's a lot of rich dummies out here. Okay. But the difference between them and me or you is they have discipline to follow through on things that they truly desire. So it's really not about book smart. It's really about discipline. But my lesson ain't about that today. My lesson is really about being comfortable in any room you go in, because we all bleed the same. And it wasn't until I decided to be myself, and the minute I made that decision, consciously or unconsciously, the minute I knew within my core that I just needed to be myself, honey, okay, I did my thing, and I walked away from the stage an even better person than I was before I went up, because I just, it's one of those things, but you don't know till you know. Okay. So I just want to encourage you to be comfortable being you. And that's not always the case. We see it all the time. There's no one else out here you need to impress other than you. And the minute I decided to impress me and allow me to show up, that's all it took. And I assure you that that's all it will take for you, is to just show up and be authentically you, and everything else will work itself out. So y'all have a great evening, and this is K Worthy reminding you that you